Hello, ladies, it's Michelle. I want to get a little bit more intimate here. And in the coming videos, I'll be sharing a few things. Number one, in this video, I want to share a little bit about some of the experiences that I have had in coaching women who are either starting a business. Most of them are 50 years plus. They're either starting a business, they're really looking at doing something that they haven't been able to complete. It could be like a weight loss journey or relationships or something like that. But this is really right now focused on women building business and also women who are already in business who are just building the skills to take it to the next level. So I want to share some of those experiences, what I've experienced with these women. And then I want to give you in the next video a little peek into the possibility of what is possible for you. These are the stats and what's available to you, the opportunities, and that is very, very exciting. I'm probably going to save my story. I think we all have a story, and I think I'm going to share that more when we are actually, for people who actually come into the group and we get to know each other a little bit more deeply there. Okay, so some of the processes that I've used to help other women, that stuff is all going to come out within the coaching and the actual program. But I do want to just give you a little peek. So here are some thoughts. I took a few notes I want to share with you. And oh my gosh, there are just so many amazing things that we are capable of because of our history, because of what we have been through and what we haven't yet been through. So looking can be listening, and watching the subtle changes in someone's eyes is like deep listening. I'm sure you understand that. I was meeting a woman for an initial coaching session, and long before she ever spoke, I could feel her pain. I could hear her pain. I could feel that she was confused. And even though she had done a lot of amazing things in her corporate environment, there was like this confused, desperate sadness. And she had been through a trauma. So there was a shock at being completely abandoned by those people that she loved the most. I looked directly into the eyes of this woman before me, and I watched curiously as these tears began to flow. The tears just start flowing in synchronicity with these words that are pouring out of her. So often the women I meet with have a very unique story, and they are framed, though, in a consistent theme of confusion, as if they just woke up from this day's sleep. And it's always the same thing. It's the same phrase. I honestly don't know how I wound up here, or some version of that. It could be, I honestly don't know how I never finished that, or I honestly don't know how this happened. And in this particular case, this woman's husband of 32 years had just left her. And to her, this was a sudden, unexpected blow. I really don't know how I wound up here, has shown up in my coaching sessions with another woman I met with. This was a car accident that left her 17-year-old son disabled and now required 24-hour care. She had no savings, no financial security to support the two of them. And she was just steamrolled. I don't know how I wound up here. Another example is a woman whose husband and 3 kids. These are traumas, you guys. Like we all have a version of this, but this woman, her husband and 3 kids died in an accident, and they were with a woman that her husband was having an affair with, who was also killed. I really don't know how I wound up here. Another version of I really don't know how I wound up here. This woman, her 3 attempts at building a business had failed, and she was brilliant. I mean, this woman is brilliant. She's beautiful. She's smart, and she's gutsy. But those 3 attempts had left her completely bankrupt, no income, no security, nowhere to go, 2 kids. I mean, the tragedies that women have suffered are varied and they have no end. We've all heard these. Some types of trauma, though, they make sense to our brains. Like an accident or something like that. When someone is left disabled and that abruptly changes the trajectory of your life, that makes sense to our brain. But there's another type of trauma I want to talk about that silently eats away at women. And simply by virtue of the fact that there's no obvious dramatic event to blame, the failure, the grief, and the inability to move forward becomes a source of deep shame. It's like there's no excuse for it. And so the blame is turned inward, and that cycle is compounded and further exaggerates the trauma. And in comparison to these examples that I've given you, my story is insignificant. And I'll be sharing that at a later date. But I meet with many women that are just kind of confused. They're like, yeah, I know I'm capable. I know I'm competent. I don't know why I really have this intention. I'm not taking the action, and I'm a little bit maybe too comfortable, or I'm so deeply traumatized and it doesn't make sense. And I don't know how to move out of that. So what I have found is when I realized that my simple life was valuable enough to share to help others, and I realized that sharing this simple real life that I have lived without justification, without apology, without dramatizing or minimizing, there were so many women that I was able to help. And through the processes that I share with them, with the people that I bring in to help, this is what you can do. So whoever you are, whatever your situation is, there are people on this planet that will be encouraged, inspired, educated, and helped in some way because of you. And I have nothing else to offer except for who I am, right? As is the case for you. And who you are is much more brilliant than you think, because you're living in it. So I'm just sharing this because at some point you hit a point where you realize there's no other option. Like, you're here to do something more, something bigger, something more expansive. That's what you're here for. And I started realizing there are people out there that need to hear my particular message. After coaching a lot of different businesses, some people resonate with your message, and some people aren't courageous enough to go as deep as they need to go to accomplish what they need to accomplish. That's just the way it is. So when you get comfortable, it's amazing how our minds are willing to compromise for a very, very, it could be a high level or it could be a low level, but whatever that homeostasis of comfort that our subconscious has agreed on, it's incredible. But the opportunity for you as a woman at this point in your life is unprecedented. And with all the love I have in my heart, I will tell you very transparently that I've been only able to help in ways that, from my perspective, seemed insignificant, but the impact always winds up being surprisingly monumental. And it's possible that you too are here to help other people just take, you're so much further along on the path in whatever area that you can lean back, and you're probably doing it already, and just lend a hand and help pull someone over that next boulder. It's always about facilitating a process, though, that gets concrete, real results. And for me, what that has meant is increased revenue in someone's business, starting an entire business, It could mean you learn how to set better boundaries, and that frees you from years of stress or often abuse that you haven't even identified as that. And that happens in business all the time, all the time. It could mean that you change a tiny little habit, and that gives you a glimmer of hope that allows you to make a better choice for just today. And that's how we build. And we can't even see where we are in that fixed mindset. So when you're around these other women, the power of that is, it's inconceivable. So you might have this whole life that is working beautifully, and then there's this one area that you haven't developed, that you know you're ready to, or you should have, or you want to, or you still kind of want to, but you don't have a network or a foundation or an environment that facilitates that to actually take place and grow and happen. And in those areas is where you have the opportunity to make better choices, be around people, create the environment, upgrade the skills, all the stuff, clarity of vision. And those are the three things we focus on, but that's for another video. And I'm really talking and getting off my notes. So it allows you to lift your gaze, okay, and just begin to see the possibilities within you, around you, that you just didn't see before. And that is what will allow you to step in the new direction. So I've seen this happen in ways that honestly, it's miraculous to me. But I will tell you that most people don't do it. Most people, they just won't do it. They just won't do it. So here's your opportunity. And I'm going to welcome you to be curious and be open. And I think of it always in these three terms, right? Courage comes in the middle, because it always starts with just the willingness to be curious and not settle, not be fixed into where you are. So curiosity, courage, and then creativity. And it's really amazing to do that with women who are doing the same thing. They're willing to be curious. They're willing to step into new types of courage and then build a business. That's the creativity part. And it's so amazing and powerful and fun. So I do hope that you are one of the ones that come along. This is going to be a very small group, because we're going to make huge impact in every single woman's life. So I hope you're going to come along with us. I can't wait to meet you, whoever you are, because the right people are going to wind up being here.